Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar on clarifying your values. This is one of my favorite topics because I still believe that if you don't understand your values, it really just sets the foundation for everything that you do. And there's more discussion about values, not only for personal values, but also values in the workplace. Today, I'm just going to take more of a general overview of values. Some of the information you'll find similar things on the internet, and there's various, values that people talk about. So the first thing is looking at the values and priorities. So firstly, when you clarify your values, your priorities become much clearer because many times our priorities are based on our values. For example, I have friends that have children and grandchildren, and their values are very much family. And so therefore, when they actually have quite a very busy schedule, obviously then priorities would be focused on family because their family is one of their key values. Your values will influence the kind of business you will run, if you are a business owner, and your values set the standard. So firstly, what is a core value? A core value is an internal guiding belief that actually runs your life. You may not know it. It can work very subconsciously, but it does. It comes from a variety of people and places, parents and family, friends and peers, religious upbringing, culture. And the thing is that you can reinvent your own value system. I know people who, would have value of various values, and family may not have been one of their highest ones. But as soon as they became a parent, all of a sudden their values shifted because they had another human being in their life that they were responsible for. You might move to a different country. Even myself, I moved from America to Australia and met different people and got to experience a different culture. So even some of my values have changed over a period of time. Here's some examples of core values, all right? So we have, honesty, integrity, respect, cooperation, learning, health, wealth, abundance, beauty, freedom, adventure, appreciation, contentment, friendship, family, as I said earlier, peace, fun, and there's many more. As I said, you can search the internet and you'll come across, at least 50, if not 100 more values that you will resonate with. And sometimes how you define values can be quite different. So if you look at freedom, the way one person defines freedom can be quite different than the other way that somebody defines freedom. When your values are clear to you, making decisions become easier. Roy Disney stated that. And I think it's true. Once you look inward and you really know that, the value of honesty or the value of loyalty or integrity, that's very clear. Anytime you make a decision, you're going to know if your value clock is right on time, in knowing that if you're congruent with those. I'm a big believer of that. Value categories. There's a few of these. So let's look at some. First off, the personal or self-values, similar to what we talked about earlier. And these values are those that you take for yourself, and they constitute a real critical part of your core values and are apparent in many of your attitudes and your beliefs and also your actions. So this is at the core. They're considered essential principles that we build our life and guide us when we relate to other people. Right? And this can, when we first start off, it can be a blend of those family and social cultural values that we have as we're growing up in our family and in the place that in our surroundings. Okay? The second one, social cultural values. Okay? So these values are those which can put the rights of wider groups of people first, okay, looking at that social aspect and those cultural aspect. We see a lot of that going on today and also being challenged. Some of these values can include equality and justice, liberty, freedom, and also national pride. And we see a lot of that conversation and conflict at the same time happening in the U.S. with regards to national pride and the respect of the flag. These types of values, social, cultural, are usually instilled within us when we're quite young, right? They can change with time. They could either possibly coincide with our family or personal values, or they could constitute a mix of different values and sometimes contradict one another as well. And this is where sometimes we are posed with a dilemma that we might see things one way, but our cultural values may see things another way. Political values. These values are ideological beliefs about the best way to govern a country or an organization. And this can be through welfare, through democracy, and maybe civil responsibility. Once again, we're seeing a lot of this happening. We're being questioned and challenged in many parts of the world today. Economic values. These values are all around money, all right? And I know that, many people have different values of money. Some people will say money is not that important to me. It's about doing good work and everything else like that. And other people go, no, that money is valuable to me, and I value money because it provides me freedom to be able to take care of my family. So you can start to see how many of these values are quite interlinked as well. The one thing is that there's no right or wrong. These are your values, and it's your ownership of them. Okay? Next one is spiritual and religious values. Now, I've put these in the same line, and I know that people do have a different definition of spiritual, and people have a different definition of religious. I know some people who are quite religious, and they see that is their spiritual practice. And I have some people who are spiritual, yet don't believe in the institution of a particular religion. So once again, this is something that's quite personal to people. And overall, it basically refers to the importance we give to the non-material aspects of our lives. So some people use the word God, some people use the word universe, spirit, okay? I don't necessarily think it matters overall. It's a person, if they do value the spiritual or the religious part of their lives, it's their own definition. It can also relate to how we should behave, and this could include caring of another human being on this planet. Family values. I briefly mentioned them earlier, and these are derived from the fundamental beliefs of parents that use them to educate their children. This can also be the importance of the institution of having a family, or maybe that's the wrong word, basically that common bond of family. Moral values. Moral values are actually the attitudes and behaviors that a society considers essential for coexistence, for order, and also general well-being. These, too, I think, are being challenged in many parts of the world today, as we see parts of the world being far from orderly, if you will. And the last one is the material and lifestyle values. These are the ones that, from the material point of view, help us to survive, and they can be related to our basic human needs as human beings, such as food and clothing and protection from the environment. We can expand that to the lifestyle values that once, if we look back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, once we have those basic needs set, then we can start to look at those lifestyle values, which can be quite expansive. That could be a lifestyle value of travel and seeing the world. So as you can see, there's various value categories Different people will have different perspectives or even different groupings of these categories, but this just gives you an overall perspective and something to think about. What are your values for each of these individual categories? And then relate them back to which of them are your core values that you can reflect on, that actually drive or even set the foundation on many decisions that you make in daily life. Thank you very much for your attention with this, and I hope you have a great day.